The project FISHNAT, Fishing, a cross-border touristic opportunity, product and a sustainable use of natural heritage and resources, is co-financed by the European Union through the European Regional Development Fund under the Interreg V-A Romania-Bulgaria Programme. The FISHNAT GI-RU cross-border tour package was realized within the project FISHNAT, Fishing, a cross-border touristic opportunity, product and a sustainable use of natural heritage and resources, ROBG 402 code, project co-financed by the European Union through the European Regional Development Fund. With an estimated duration of 7 days, the package is addressed to both fishing enthusiasts individually or in tourist groups, families, with and without children, young or old people, formally or informally organized, as well as to companies or other entities that organize group activities. The FISHNAT GI-RU package is dedicated to all recreational fishing enthusiasts who want to discover the most beautiful fishing spots in Giurgiu County, Romania, and Rusa District, Bulgaria, and also the objectives or tourist attractions of these two wonderful areas located on both sides of the Danube. Giurgiu County stands out by one of the most spectacular nature reserves in Romania, Comana Nature Park and Comana Pond, the second largest biodiversity area in our country after the Danube Delta Biosphere Reserve. On the other side of the Danube, Rusa district has one of the most spectacular and beautiful canyons in Europe, the Rusensky Lom Nature Park, which is included in the UNESCO heritage, being covered by forests in over 80% of its surface. Those who want to travel by car, bike, boat or even on foot will discover and admire a unique landscape in Europe. Let's explore the main attractions in this tour package together. At a nearly equal distance between Bucharest and Giurgiu, Comana is a very rich and popular destination for tourists. The main point of interest is the Comana Nature Park, which has an impressive area, over 24,000 hectares, of which only 8,000 are represented by forests and the rest by wetlands, marshes, grasslands and pastures. In other words, an ideal living environment for birds, plants and animals. Not accidentally, the decision to establish the nature park was adopted based on the documentation elaborated since 1954 by the members of the Romanian Academy. Everything to protect two unique floristic areas in the world: the Scientific Reserve of Ruscus aculeatus, Butcher's Room, and the Scientific Reserve of Paeonia peregrina, Peony. To these two reservations were added in 2004 the Najlog Delta Comana Pond, as it is called, as a nature reserve as well as a bird protection area, fishing being prohibited. Moreover, it is considered the largest wetland in southern Romania. According to specialists, in the Comana Nature Park there are 141 species of birds, of which 71 are internationally protected, but also over 13 species of fish, some of them on the red list. Those who arrive in this area can go hiking through the forest or have fun in the Comana Adventure Park, where they will find routes for both children and adults, zip line over the lake, places where nature can be admired, boat trips on the wide ponds of the Najlog Delta. Nearby is the Comana Monastery, a special place charged with the history of the Romanian people, which was erected by Vlad the Impaler in 1461, having the role of fortress monastery. The church was rebuilt in 1588 by the boyard Radu Șerban and restored successively during the reigns of Matei Basarab, Șerban Cantacuzino and Constantin Brâncoveanu. Also, a lesser-known tourist objective here is the Memorial House of Naum, one of the great surrealist writers in Romania. The writer bought this house in the 60s and transformed it with his wife, Ligia, from a normal dwelling specific to the southern villages into a bohemian place. Here and there in the yard one can see the influences of artist Naum. For example, carved balusters, of which one in the form of a cat, or the bench carved from several logs and a floorboard with a head carved in wood at one end. The city of Giurgiu at the southern border of Romania had a history as tumultuous as it was devastating. One of the historical monuments proving this is the clock tower, 22 meters high, which has now become the emblem of the city. Built by the Ottomans in the 17th century, it had in turn a military role, housed the firefighters or the police, and even worked a terrace, and in the end it remained only a clock. Another representative element for the history of the city is Giurgiu Port. Its first historical mentions appear in the 16th century. It was initially a strategic point of defense of goods and borders, where cereals were exported to the Austro-Hungarian Empire and the Ottoman Empire. Currently, it is one of the main Romanian ports on the Danube. which allows the river cruise ships to moor and provides connections with the 10 riparian countries. During a walk on the promenade, it is impossible not to notice the building of the fluvial Danube Ports Administration, designed by the architect Petre Antonescu, who also designed the Știre Palace or the Arch of Triumph in Bucharest. Another historical objective of overwhelming importance is the fortress of the island, or the fortress of Mircea cel Bătrân, a medieval fortress from the 14th century. This true line of defense was disputed and controlled in turn by the Vlachs and the Ottomans, suffering over 20 sieges. It was last used during the Russian-Ottoman battles 1768 to 1774 and then was partially torn down in 1829. Although not currently restored, the fortress on the island is perhaps the most important Romanian fortress on the Danube. But let's return to fishing enthusiasts. In Giurgiu County, there are numerous fishing areas on the Danube shore or in specially arranged ponds, most of them being in private administration. Here you can fish carp, Asian carp, Crucian carp, bighead carp, zander, common bleak and common rudd. One of the most popular fishing areas on the Danube, very close to Giurgiu, is represented by the Ara Arm. It is a few kilometers long, starts from the Friendship Bridge and flows back to the Danube near Mocanu Island. Here you can fish from the shore or from the boat, even at night, as common roach, perch, Crucian carp, Squarius cephalus, carp, mirror carp, Romanian carp, bimba, common barbel, common bream, zander, common naze, Wales catfish, northern pike. Crossing the Giurgiu-Russe Friendship Bridge, you are greeted by the city of Russe, the largest Bulgarian city on the Danube. Nicknamed Little Vienna due to its unique architecture. Founded in the 1st century by the Roman Emperor Vespasian under the name of Sexaginta, the port of the 60 ships, today Russe is known for its well-preserved buildings from the end of the 19th century and the beginning of the 20th century. We recommend that you visit the Russe Regional History Museum, a true symbol of the city, located in the building of the former Battenberg Palace, built between 1879 and 1882 by architect Friedrich Grüniger. It became a museum in 1904, currently numbering over 130,000 exhibits. Nearby is the Museum of Ecology, with the aquarium, which presents the diversity of animal species and the protected areas along the Danube. This is the place where the largest aquarium in Bulgaria is located, with fish that live in the Danube and its tributaries. But Russe is not only known for its beautiful buildings. Nearby, only 10 kilometers from Russe, there is Lipnik Park, or Lipnik Urban Forest, a vast area of oaks and lime trees, ponds and lakes, with an area of approximately 20,000 hectares. It is considered to be the largest wooded park in Bulgaria, and the idea of establishing it emerged in the 50s. Through the dense forest that covers the main hill of the park, alleys and paths have been set up. And on the right bank of the large lake, the wooded one, there are hidden camping areas in the forest with a magnificent view of the lake. In the small ponds, favorable conditions have been created for the development of a lush vegetation with reed, cattail and many white water lilies, which now cover much of their surface. The small lake even has a trail of concrete slabs which crosses it in the middle through the heart of the water lilies area. But let's get back to fishing enthusiasts. In the Russe district, of course, you can fish in the Danube, but a very popular area for fishing is Lipnik Park, which is populated with various species of fish, especially carp or Crucian carp. Also for fishing, you can go to the nearby Straklevo Pond, only a few kilometers away. Those wishing to escape from the urban area can choose to stay in Nikolovo, the favorite place of relaxation of Russe inhabitants, with all the facilities and all the modern comforts. For those who are passionate about the wild nature and the karst relief, only 20 kilometers from Russe there is a true treasure, the Rusensky Lom Nature Park, with wild limestone walls, which conceal an impressive collection of plants, including orchids, iridaceae, but also animals, some extremely rare. And in the middle of the picturesque park, Rusensky Lom, is the village of Nisovo, from where you can start exploring several eco-trails with varying degrees of difficulty. In this area, you will also find accommodation facilities. Among the most interesting and unique tourist attractions in the area is the Cemetery of the Knights Templar, which is supposed to date from the 16th-18th century. Here, on each funeral stone, there is a Templar cross and inscriptions about the age, social status, and even the job of the deceased. Also, the Saints Constantine and Helen rock-carved monastery, unfortunately more difficult to reach, is at least 2-3 hours walk from Nisovo, on the valley of the Mali-Lom River. It is the largest rock-carved church in the area, and access to it is an experience at least adventurous. Inside the Rusensky Lom Nature Park, there is also the medieval fortress of Cherven, which was one of the most important military, economic and church centers of the Second Bulgarian Empire, 12th-14th century. In 1235, the fortress became the residence of the medieval Bulgarian Metropolitan of Cherven, and in 1388 it was conquered and demolished by the Ottomans, with decline following. Here were discovered several interesting buildings: a castle, fortification systems, underground systems for water supply, public and administrative buildings, 13 churches, a network of streets, dwellings and workshops. One of the towers, with 3 floors, has been preserved almost entirely. The fortress has been declared a National Archaeological Reserve and represents a well-preserved tourist objective with very good infrastructure. The Olovachuka cave is located about 40 kilometers from Ruse, near the village of Pepelina, also inside the Rusensky Lom Nature Park. The cave was discovered in 1941 by a shepherd, and 18 years later, 124 steps were built and a tunnel was dug so that tourists could easily enter the karst formation to admire the fascinating world that it hides. Currently only 3 of the 13.4 kilometers, it is the second longest cave in Bulgaria, are arranged, accessible and illuminated for visitors. In the concert hall where shows are held, there is the Great Stalactite, over 3.5 meters high and 50 centimeters in diameter. Access to the cave is done every hour in groups of up to 15 people, accompanied by a tour guide. The cave is closed between the 1st of November and the 1st of April because it is the habited and wintering place of several bat species, 14, some of them unique in Europe. Located on the left slope of the Cherny-Lom River Valley, the cave entrance is at a height of 40 meters above the river, being accessible via a steep path. Its name derives precisely from the rock above the entrance, the Rock of the Vultures, on which the vultures nest. Moreover, the entrance terrace provides an attractive view over the Rusensky Lom Nature Park and the rocky formations of the river valley. The assembly of rock-hewn churches, St. Michael's the Archangel, known as the rock-hewn churches of Ivanovo, is only 22 kilometers from Ruse, in the immediate vicinity of Ivanovo village, also inside the Rusensky Lom Nature Park. At present, access is made relatively easy, climbing the stairs. The assembly, which comprises several churches, was founded in 1220 by the monk Joachim, future Bulgarian Patriarch. During the Second Bulgarian Empire, this spiritual center experienced an amazing period of development. Its well-preserved frescoes provide valuable information on important historical events of the time. Let's notice, for example, the world-renowned wall paintings of the Church of the Assumption of the Blessed Virgin Mary, which was carved in rock and painted in 1360. This is what sets this complex apart from the other Bulgarian rock monasteries, which is why it is included in UNESCO Heritage. If you want to visit the only rock monastery in Bulgaria that is still operational, you can visit the rock monastery of Saint Dimitar Basarabovsky, located on the Rusensky Lom River Valley near the village of Basarabovo, only 10 kilometers from the city of Ruse. Its story is entirely due to the monk who spent his entire life in a cave near the place where he was born, in a harsh fast abstinence and prayers, completely isolated from the world. After his death, his relics were found by the locals in the waters of the river and placed in the village church. During the Russo-Turkish War, Russian General Petr Salnikov took the relics of Saint Dimitar to avoid being defiled by Turkish soldiers with the intention of taking them to Russia. At the passing of the cortege through Bucharest in June 1774, at the requests of a wealthy merchant, Haji Dimitrie, and of Metropolitan Gregory II of Wallachia, the relics were given to the Romanian Orthodox believers as comfort for the sufferings and damages brought by the war. Thus, Saint Dimitrie Basarabov the New became the protector of Bucharest, and his relics are kept in the Patriarchal Cathedral of Bucharest. These were just some of the objectives and attractions included in the FISHNAT GI-RU cross-border tour package. We are convinced that you will go exploring and discovering them on your own or with your friends or family. Moreover, we are convinced that you will return to these wonderful places because in just 7 days they will manage to arouse your interest. Enjoy, along with your loved ones, the FISHNAT GI-RU cross-border tour package.